Welcome to the Mindset by Design podcast with your host, the expert Andy Murphy, where you will learn the tips, tricks, and strategies he teaches his world-class clients to give you the skills to dominate any business.
What's going on, Mindset by Design crew, and welcome to episode, this is a clip show. So it's not really a true episode. You can grab the full episodes always every single week and you can jump into those. But what we're going to do each week also in this regular feature is this could be clips of the previous episode. It could be lives I've done on Facebook and Instagram and LinkedIn. It could be private sessions. It could be just awesome stuff. Now remember, what we're all about here at Mindset by Design is about building new behaviors, new ways of thinking, feeling, and acting using NLP, which I'm a world-class expert at, concepts and the understanding of neuroscience, and also behavioral psychology, influence, persuasion, peak performance, all of those things combined together to be able to retrain your conscious, unconscious mind and really change the brain, the nervous system to make you superhuman. That's it, right? Have you ever seen that movie Limitless? Right. What my job is to give you the tools and tactics to be able to, live a limitless life, have a limitless brain, and create the life and freedom that you truly want. I've done this for 20 years all over the world, and I've done it with people from Saudi Arabian royalty to Fortune 500 CEOs, people doing IPO, world champions, digital superstars, right? People that you know all over the internet. We've got NBC winners, Hollywood producers and actors. I can go on and on, But the idea is here to help you. We've been doing this for a long, long time and we're just getting started. So today, this is a clip show, so enjoy, and I will see you at the end of the show. Oh, just before you jump into the show, make sure that you're hitting the show notes because we've got constant, awesome courses, live events, free things, awesome things to be able to make you really perform at your absolute best and create the life that you deserve. So, make sure you hit those show notes up or head over right now to andymurphy.online. andymurphy.online. So enjoy, and I will see you at the end of the show.
So to the marshmallow point, because I think this is really interesting and I don't think it's talked about enough, which is they like to separate the kids into the two buckets, right? Like the kid who waits for 2 marshmallows and the kid who just says, I want the marshmallow now. But I feel like they should have a third bucket, which says, how long do they ask the kid to wait for the marshmallow, right? Because it's not, do you have, because I like to think of things in a lot of times we have false dichotomies or we have binaries where we're good or bad, disciplined or undisciplined, I'm honest or dishonest, right? When I think more reality is to what degree am I honest? To what extent am I disciplined? To what degree am I, loyal, right?
Oh God, there's a whole conversation.
Yeah. And so I think that each of those 3 traits that we just went over, it's not do I have them or not for the people who are listening, because people like to think, yes, I have it, or I have all 3 of those. It's not having them. And I'm sure you've interviewed some of the most successful people on the planet. It's how much do you have, right? And so I think that your ability to delay gratification, it's not just I can wait a week or I can wait a month. But I made this tweet that went pretty viral. And it was if you can wait a year, you can make a ton of money. If you can do something for 12 months, you can not need for financial goodness pretty much for the rest of your life. I'm not saying you're gonna be hella rich. Right. But you're not going to need for anything if you can wait 12 months. If you can wait a decade, you're going to be above the 1%. If you can wait 10 years for an outcome, be able to do the doing without seeing the result for 10 years, you will be able to be above most achievement of most people. And if you can wait a lifetime and you don't even need to see the result of your doing this, even while you are alive, but know that it may get done after you pass, then I believe that you can change the world. And I mean that. And so I think that if people can just extend the time horizon that they're measuring themselves on, they can just do so much more. I mean, you've probably heard the Bill Gates quote where he says, people overestimate what they can do in a year and underestimate what they can do in a decade. I think it's the same thing, just continue to draw it out. And I think as we've been able to, achieve more leverage and make more money, et cetera, my horizon has extended. And when I listen to the people who I want to emulate, I can almost tell by the measurement of money that they talk about and the measurement of time that they discuss how successful they are or how successful I think they're going to be. Like if I talk to a 25-year-old and he's talking about what he wants to do in 2 decades and his whole plan of what he's going to do, as long as he's not just blowing smoke because he's heard an interview from me, then I'm like, this kid's got it. He gets it. He gets it. And most people just don't think they can't wait 90 days. Most people can't even wait a month, right? They start a diet and 14 days later they don't have a six-pack and they can't wait. But like if you do a year, you can look whatever way you want for the most part, by and large. And if you wait a year for the ability to learn how to sell, you wait a year for the ability to learn how to market, wait a year just providing value to a group of people for free and then delaying your ask, you can do whatever you want.
I have a method that I can teach people how to do it, but most people still won't do it, which is to build the desire, to create an association between the doing that thing and the meaning and purpose that you want to have for your own life, and that it's not going to seem self-evident. You have to bolt it on. It feels kind of fake in the beginning, but if you really invest, and it really is something that you care about, it can't be fake. But if it really is something that you care about and you build that intense association, then you can fight through that. But boredom kills more entrepreneurs than fear or failure ever will.
When you say boredom, do you mean that they're starting something, it's starting to work, and then they just switch because they're ADD, or?
No, I mean that doing something where you don't get the result that you want and it's 10 years out and you're gonna have to do what Jeff Bezos calls overhead, right? No matter how much you love your job, there's always overhead. There is boring shit. And what I find is people, they can't stay on task. I find in myself a strong desire not to stay on task because it is boring. It's just boring. Or even worse, if it feels bad and you have to keep doing it and you have to wake up every day and face that like this is really going to be tough, and it's going to be tough for an undetermined amount of time. So it's not even like I know it's going to be a year. There's an unknown amount of suffering before me and I have to somehow continue to muster the enthusiasm.
And have faith that this theory that I have is actually going to work out.
Or that I'll get better. Right? That maybe this theory isn't the right theory, but I'll be able to figure it out.
It's interesting you say that because we talk about need to believes when we're thinking about a company that we want to like invest in. And so it's like, what are the, we try to have as few need to believes as possible for, a growth thesis to happen. And then not only do we want to have as few as possible.
Really interesting. Need to believe, like, I need to believe that this is true for this outcome to be possible. Really
so
smart. How
do we have as few of those as possible? And how do we have that those need to believe statements are as high likelihood as humanly possible, right? So it's like, if we had a business that was reliant on an inflationary period or something, I'd say like, okay, well, I believe that that's, it's high likelihood that it's going to occur. Okay, so I feel okay about that one. And if that was the only thing I need to believe for this whole business to be successful, I'd be like, where do I write a check? Because it's the only thing I need. So it's how many of these are there, right? And if there's a lot of them, then with each additional line, our likelihood of getting the outcome we want goes down. And so I think that if reversing that for success for somebody who's coming along is like, what amount of action would it be unreasonable for me not to be successful? And so for me, it's like, I believe that if you do 10,000 cold calls, you'll get better. Like it would be unreasonable for you not to be good. Like after that level of effort, if you run, if you take half your paycheck every month or a third of your paycheck every month and you say, I'm going to advertising university, which is I'm going to spend money actually advertising, trying to get people to click on this thing and give me their name and phone number. If you go and you spend that amount of money on actually advertising, after a year, after 2 years, you'll probably be pretty good. Especially if you join a community of other people who are doing the same thing, right? You see got mentors who have done and give you frameworks that you can just work off so you can shortcut your path to success. It becomes unreasonable that you wouldn't be more successful in the future than you are today. And so I like thinking about things in terms of directionally correct rather than will I hit it or not, right? I think there's so many binaries because it's easy psychologically for us to say yes, no, honest, dishonest, et cetera, successful, not successful. But it makes making decisions really hard because you're like, is this the path for me? Is this the product, the business I'm going to start? Whereas like, well, if I started something, I would be more likely to be successful than if I did not start anything. And from there, I will gain experience and perspective to then make the next iteration on the main thing. And was Quest your first thing ever?
First successful thing.
But you'd done other stuff before that and failed. And I was like, I hope Quest wasn't his first thing. Most people had...
Thank God it wasn't,
right.
to be honest.
Most people had a graveyard of failures before they had their actual first success. And so most people spend all this time, a different tweet that went viral, it said like, with 20 hours of focused effort, most people can be pretty decent at something, whether it's guitar, it's singing, even cold calling. If you actually cold called for 20 hours, focused effort, you'd be decent. But most people spend years waiting to do the first hour.
I love that, man. I love everything that he just said in every capacity, you know? When looking at acquiring a business, need to believe. Think about that. What you need to believe, right? We want to limit those things, but we want to make them real. So what is it inside of your sales career or entrepreneurial business that you need to believe? Do you know what I mean? What is it internally that you need to believe inside of yourself that you can be consistent and get this done? And if something comes up that I need to believe that I can make millions of dollars, maybe, but is it you need to believe that the mistakes from the past no longer hold you and they were pure unconscious lessons for you to grow and get wisdom, so just like white belt, black belt, you can then go to the next level, right? Because nobody wins an Olympic gold medal just by racing on that day. Does that make sense? No, they start like when they're kids and then they become amateurs, then semi-pros, then professional. And they've got camps, they've got mentors constantly with them, making sure that they achieve success. Does that make sense? Right? And not everyone's going to win the gold. Some people will just compete in the race. Some people will come second, third, fourth, 10th. Doesn't mean that you're not a badass, right? Everyone tries to shoot for the fucking stars, man. But why don't you just shoot for the moon or the atmosphere, or try just going in a plane, right? There's loads of people that go in the planes. Planes are still awesome. You don't have to go to Mars. Do you know what I mean? Or a different galaxy, or through a black hole. It's like, let's just calm it down, right? And let's just achieve greatness at a level that other people are great at, right? Everyone strives to become a billionaire these days, which is insane. Do you know the level of commitment that you have and the sacrifices? No one talks about the sacrifices, right? Sacrificing probably your health, sacrificing relationships, sacrificing your family, and all of those things. No, I won't. You go and read the books, listen to the autobiographies. To have that level of dedication, you're sacrificing something else. So you best be damn sure what you say yes to is what you really want, because you're saying no to something else. So if you're growing a business right now, if you're smashing it in sales right now, if you're got an idea about something, then you best be sure that you want what it can give you, or you want the end result, and then it's about building the machine to take you to that destination, right? Now the machine can get upgraded, it can change, it can get a new wheel, a new cog, it can look completely different. You can upgrade the machine, but you still need a machine. So then you've got to learn how to build a machine. Does that make sense? And what Alex said was something absolutely brilliant. And did you know who was interviewing? The guy who created Quest bars, right? You know that? Yeah. So Alex said something brilliant. He gives it most successful, not most, I'd say all, right? Unless you're, I don't know, like Tom Cruise, who I think got every acting job that he ever went for. Do you know what I mean? Things like that. But there's always outliers and freaks. But for 99.9999999% of the population, we have a graveyard of failures in the past. Of course. But that makes sense, right? White belt, black belt. It's you always are going to have that. That's how you learn, man. That's how you grow. So why don't we just understand that failures aren't failures. They are just feedback, right? It's just feedback on you to get better at that skill. That's it. And so what we've got to be as entrepreneurs or intrapreneurs is constantly having behavioral flexibility to adjust and constantly pivot and understand that nothing is still, nothing remains the same, everything in constant motion, including sales performance, including business, including markets, right? Including dynamics of cultures, including everything. But it doesn't matter. We just keep getting better. And so we can use business as a direct reflection of how powerful we're growing, right? If you're being affected by craziness or chaos or change, then you're not the eye of the storm, right? Does that make sense? So I think that's what I'm going to call the episode of the podcast. How to be the eye of the storm and make millions. Beautiful. That's it. Okay, crew, there we go. The end of another clip show. I really hope you enjoyed it. You got lots of good stuff from it. And again, if you want to go back and check the previous episode, well, it's waiting for you there. And speaking of waiting for you there, you've got to make a decision. That's how much do you want the next stage of your life? Do you want to have that limitless brain? Do you want to be like a Jedi? Do you want to be part superhuman? Do you want to take your business life to a whole new level with influence, persuasion, peak performance, and neuroconditioning? Well, I'm sure you do. This is how we scale businesses from 5, 6, 7, 8 figures plus. This is how I've worked with the top people in the world, and I just want to share some of their secret strategies with you. So the next thing you need to do, very simple, nice and easy, just simply go to the links. That's it. Hit the show notes up, see what's available for you today, and also make sure that you're heading over to andymurphy.online. Why? Because we got articles, we got videos, we got content all for you sitting right there, and so many options to help you get to that next stage, to win, finally win, or take your business and life to a whole different level. Sound good? Awesome, that's waiting for you there. And make sure that you're finding me on social media. It's very easy. It's Andy Murphy Mindset. Type that in, you got me. Or Andy Murphy NLP, Andy Murphy Mindset. Either way, you can find me all over social. Make sure that you're connecting, make sure that you're hanging out, and make sure that you're writing me an awesome review somewhere. Spotify, Apple, or any other platform. I love you for it. They love me for it, and it means I can keep pumping out this awesome content. Okay, do that right now, and until the next time, much love. Have an amazing week, and oh yeah, one more thing. Why don't you smile for me and keep kicking ass?
Thanks so much for listening to today's episode of the Mindset by Design podcast with your host and NLP expert, Andy Murphy. We'll catch you next time.
Okay, crew, there we go, the end of another clip show. I really hope you enjoyed it. You got lots of good stuff from it. And again, if you want to go back and check the previous episode, well, it's waiting for you there. And speaking of waiting for you there, you've got to make a decision. That's how much do you want the next stage of your life? Do you want to have that limitless brain? Do you want to be like a Jedi? Do you want to be part superhuman? Do you want to take your business life to a whole new level with influence, persuasion, peak performance, and neuroconditioning? Well, I'm sure you do. This is how we scale businesses from 5, 6, 7, 8 figures. Plus, this is how I've worked with the top people in the world, and I just want to share some of their secret strategies with you. So the next thing you need to do, very simple, nice and easy, just simply go to the links. That's it. Hit the show notes up, see what's available for you today, and also make sure that you're heading over to andymurphy.online. Why? Because we got articles, we got videos, we got content all for you sitting right there, and so many options to help you get to that next stage, to win, finally win, or take your business and life to a whole different level. Sound good? Awesome, that's waiting for you there. And make sure that you're finding me on social media. It's very easy. It's Andy Murphy Mindset. Type that in, you got me. Or Andy Murphy NLP, Andy Murphy Mindset. Either way, you can find me all over social. Make sure that you're connecting, make sure that you're hanging out, and make sure that you're writing me an awesome review somewhere. Spotify, Apple, or any other platform. I love you for it. They love me for it, and it means I can keep pumping out this awesome content. Okay, do that right now, and until the next time, much love. Have an amazing week, and oh yeah, one more thing. Why don't you smile for me and keep...
Thanks so much for listening to today's episode of the Mindset by Design podcast with your host and NLP expert, Andy Murphy. We'll catch you next time.